Well, good evening and welcome to this Power of Mentoring information session. Before we start, we have a few housekeeping items to go through. We're recording today's session so that it can be made available to those unable to attend this evening. We have a number of people joining, so if we can ask you to please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras to ensure the quality of the audio. Please ask any questions via the chat function. The questions will then be asked by a member of our team during the Q&A at the end. Finally, please tag your attendance here this evening on LinkedIn, and our handle is shown on this slide. So just a quick overview of the agenda we have for the session this evening. My name is Emma, and I'm one of the directors of Pink Dynasty. After a brief welcome, I will hand over to our founder, Diola, who will share an overview of the Pink Dynasty programme, and then you'll hear about the role mentors play in our programme. We are very pleased to have two of our PD mentors and one of our mentee alumni with us this evening, who will share some of their personal experiences of the programme. And then Lisa will share a little about how to support our mission and apply to be a mentor for this year's cohort. Finally, there'll be the opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have on any of the topics we've covered this evening. So please make sure to submit them via the chat throughout the session. So it gives me great pleasure to kick off this evening. This is our first year hosting our sessions online, which has meant that we're not restricted by venue size and are therefore very pleased to be able to have many of you join us here this evening to hear more about the PD programme, what it entails, and our wider social mission. I'm very pleased to hand over to my friend and co-director Diola, who founded the programme back in 2014. Diola.
Thank you, Emma. Welcome everyone today. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us this evening. So about Pink Dynasty, well, from an early age, I've always had a deep passion for human rights. And wherever possible, I would volunteer with organizations that support the most marginalized and vulnerable in society. So it should come as no surprise that as soon as I was in a position to leverage my access and connections, I established Pink Dynasty back in 2014. Pink Dynasty is based on the notion that career prospects are determined not only by solid educational pedigree, but by having a valuable contact and network. With the support of my first employer, Standard Chartered Bank, I was able to launch the pilot scheme to support young women who come from very low income backgrounds and have an interest in a career in banking, law, or any other city career. To help them achieve their goals, I thought that it would be a great idea to establish a mentoring scheme to build the connections that they are lacking by pairing them with gifted and talented professionals who will support them with their personal and professional aspirations. To date, Pink Dynasty has been my biggest achievement, and seeing how our mentors and partners support our most vulnerable members of society to break down the invisible barriers into corporate jobs in the UK is incredibly job satisfying. And it is an absolute pleasure that since its inception, our members are growing from strength to strength. So thank you. And I'm going to give you a bit more information about the Rising Star program. So unlike typical women empowerment organizations, Pink Dynasty not only provides empathetic mentoring, but we also give our members professional development via one-to-one mentoring with their assigned mentor, but they also receive unlimited access to our resource center. They get free access to workshops and events that are hosted by industry experts and leadership coaching by our patron, Geraldine Haley. So what do our members get? So they receive connectivity to a mentor who will challenge their aspirations, help them to think outside the box. They'll receive enhanced personal and professional development. Financial literacy, as mentioned, many of our members come from low income backgrounds. So in order to end the cycle of codependency, it's really important for us to work with them with their financial literacy skills. Money management. And we do this in partnership with our valued partner, Experian. Some of you may have joined our workshop yesterday where we had John Webb, an executive, deliver a wonderful presentation on how to manage your credit during the coronavirus. This, among other workshops, is what our mentees receive. We also work with our partners like Standard Chartered, Burberry, A&O to provide other networking opportunities, access to paid work placements and internships. And the most important thing is that we are trying to create a community of like-minded professionals who believe in the empowerment of young women from challenged backgrounds, because we want to ensure that they have the best start in life, because it is well deserved. So now I'm going to hand over to my colleague Emma, who will discuss what mentoring in practice means. Over to you, Emma.
Great, thank you very much, Dee. As you've heard, the Pink Dynasty programme is made up of a variety of components, but the role of a mentor is absolutely central. Each mentor is matched to a specific mentee at the beginning of the programme, either because they have had a similar career path to the one the mentee is aspiring to, or because they have knowledge or skills in areas that the mentee feels they wish to develop over the course of the year. We try to encourage our mentors and mentees to develop the way of working that best suits their particular needs. This year, as we said, we, like so many others, have had to move our programs online, and we would ask mentors to aim to have at least a monthly telephone or video call, and as and when possible, a face-to-face meeting. Many of our mentors and mentees stay in regular contact in between these scheduled meetings via email or WhatsApp, whatever suits them best. Particularly in the world we currently find ourselves in, that ongoing support and sounding board for our mentees will be particularly important as they look to navigate the transition from education to employment. We ask mentors and mentees at the beginning of the programme, at their first meeting, to complete a mentorship agreement that outlines what the mentee hopes to gain from the programme over the 12 months, the way they will aim to work to achieve this, and a commitment to respect each other's time and efforts by responding to messages and not cancelling meetings. What we have found over the years is that in the initial weeks of the programme, the mentor drives the communication, but as the mentee's confidence grows, that soon shifts. We do ask our mentors to be sensitive to their mentees' personal situations, and if there are any concerns or areas where you feel you would benefit from additional support, the PD management team is always on hand. The PD programme does look to assist our members with securing internships and job opportunities, either directly through the companies our mentors work for, or from introductions they or the management team are able to make from within their networks. So what does an effective Pink Dynasty mentor look like? A PD mentor demonstrates leadership qualities and is passionate about the PD mission of women empowerment, social mobility, and diversity and inclusion. They are a good listener, approachable and empathetic to the challenges our members face. And they are willing to actively participate in the wider programme by connecting friends and colleagues who you think might be interested in being involved, facilitating workshops, or offering internship job opportunities, to name but a few. So we ask that you consider carefully before applying that you will be able to commit to being a mentor for 1 year. As we've said, the role of the mentor is crucial in a number of aspects of the mentee's Pink Dynasty experience. And as you'll hear a little later, many of our mentors continue to support the programme well after the year, both by maintaining a long-term relationship with their particular mentee or by mentoring across multiple cycles. Finally, as Dee mentioned earlier, we've been running the programme since 2014 and have had the privilege to support over 120 women who have gone on to roles across a wide range of companies, some of which are shown here. We are incredibly proud of what we have achieved so far and look forward to adding many more logos to this slide in the future. Now I'll hand over to Dee to introduce our speakers for this evening.
Thank you, Emma. So it's with great pleasure that I'm going to introduce Romy Murray, who has been a mentor for 2 cohorts, and she's joined us in 2016. Also, we have Sophie Edmond, who's a mentor, who is joined us with our current cohort and is looking forward to mentoring our incoming cohort next year. And last but not least, Chloe, who is a mentee, and she joined the programme in 2017.
Thank you very much, Dee. So it would be really great if you, Sophie, you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about why you joined the programme and what you've gained from it personally, what you felt your mentee gained from it, and just a little bit about your understanding of our ethos to lift as you climb.
Okay, and thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for inviting me to come on to this session today. So I became aware of Pink Dynasty when I met one of the people involved, which is James, and he was speaking at an event that we were both at about this time last year. And what he was saying to me, to the group, really resonated about what my experiences could bring to Pink Dynasty and about their mission. So I went through the application process, and that made me stop and think as well, what could I bring? And as I went through the process, I met a couple of times with Dee and a few other people, and I was very honoured to be selected as a mentor and matched to a mentee whose name is Rania. And we met face to face, and one of the things that struck me about that meeting, it was a group meeting in the days when we could do things face to face in central London, and just to see the different people in the room with so many different backgrounds, but the thing that joined everybody together was that element of being young, ambitious women, which to me just gave this fantastic warm fuzzy feeling to make me think, wow, these are the young people of the future. These are our leaders. And I actually felt quite humbled to be part of that. You know, I sort of felt little me, which I know is not what I should be saying, but that's how I felt. It was that kind of sense of warmth and achievement. And for me, the biggest thing was feeling that I could make a difference. And that is one thing that has really, really driven me throughout the whole of my career. So I've got over 30 years in corporate, and I've met lots of different people in that time, but just rewind back a little bit. One of the big things that resonated for me was the background that Rania came from. And we actually have quite similar backgrounds. So my background is that my father was a refugee from the Second World War. So my father would be in his 90s now if he was still alive. And he was a refugee. So he came to this country with nothing. And I didn't speak any English, even though I was born here, until I went to school, because Polish was the language. This is back in the early 70s. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily a disadvantaged background, but it was a different background. It wasn't your standard background, if you like. And so that was one thing that really I felt I could add, to have that understanding and appreciation of what it feels to be a little bit different and not be the norm. I was bullied at school because I wore glasses. I was a little bit geeky, a little bit nerdy, because my parents instilled in me that I had to work hard. And also because I had a surname with a ski on the end. And back in the 70s, that wasn't that common. So moving forward and working with Rania, what has it given me? Well, first of all, a huge sense of satisfaction, because the conversations that Rania and I have are just fantastic. I do challenge her, and she has found that at times a little bit uncomfortable. But for me, it's about pushing people out of their comfort zone. And some of the conversations that we've been having, I've really noticed over the last few months how she has blossomed and how she has progressed. And to me, we had a bit of a check-in back in June, and it was halfway through the programme. And I said to her, okay, so can I have some feedback, please, about how you think our relationship is going, what you've achieved? And she said that it's about me holding her accountable and about how supportive I am towards her. She also felt and feels that she has gained organisational and professional confidence. Now, to me, that is just amazing. Through having some conversations, and this is the feedback that she was giving me, and as the conversation and as our relationship has progressed, it has been very much a trusting relationship. It's about enabling her to climb. And again, when I get on the phone with her, so Rania, tell me what you've been up to. And she says, I've been up to this, I've done this, I've done this. I'm like, whoa, how are you finding time to do all of these things? but it's because she has got this sense of confidence and she wants to be somebody. And so she's also having some fantastic conversations with being interns, doing things on LinkedIn, and just doing things in her other parts of her life that is helping her to move her forward in all the things that she wants to do. So my final piece of advice is do this, become a mentor, support these women, because they really are our future.
Thank you, Sophie. That was incredible. And if you could also give, what does lift as you climb mean to you?
To me personally, it is about supporting other women. So I'm going to use the horrible COVID word because it has actually really helped me to think about who I am, where do I want to be, and what do I want to be doing. So during COVID, back in May, I founded a new brand called The Art of Women's Leadership. And for me, that has really been a big thing. It is that, okay, what can I do to support other women to get out there? So I'm now getting involved in some all-party parliamentary groups around women in enterprise and women at work. And so for me, it's about sharing my knowledge, sharing my experiences with others and making that difference.
Thank you, Sophie. And now I'm going to ask Romy the same question. So Romy, I know it has been a while, but if you can think back and give us an explanation as to why you joined the programme, what you've gained from it as a mentor, and I also think as an executive sponsor, and what does Lift as you climb mean to you?
Brilliant, thank you, Dee. Why did I join? I think it was, so Dee and I used to work together, and I think as I heard more about what Pink Dynasty was doing, and it was at a point where I was reflecting on my career, what I'd been able to achieve, who I was, and it was clear to me that I'd been able to achieve what I had because I'd worked hard, I'd got some talents, but I'd also got some breaks in my life. Just specifically, there'd been people who'd been there for me, who'd shared a story, who'd shared an idea with me, who'd taken a chance on me. So the PD ethos of Lift as you climb is really fundamental. It's super important to me. It's about, I guess at the start, it's really about me doing my part to create the future, the world that we want to see. And this is part of the way that I can contribute to that. So as Dee said, I've worked for Pink Dynasty for about 5 years now. I've had the opportunity to mentor 2 amazing people. I've also had the opportunity to speak at a workshop and to host a team building event. And I like to promote Pink Dynasty wherever I can. And the reason is that what they do matters to me. I love working with interesting people who make a difference, and Pink Dynasty and the talented women that it supports, they really tick that box. So I get a lot of satisfaction. What else do you want me to continue?
I mean, that was fabulous. Thank you. I think if you could give some advice to any of our guests here who are interested in, number 1, possibly mentoring our incoming rising stars, or number 2, wanting to be an advocate for Pink Dynasty in their organisation, what would you give them as advice?
So 2 things. One, I think when you're working with your mentee, there are a couple of things. I mean, the summary slide that I think Emma talked through earlier really hit the nail on the head. But so I just stress it, making sure you find the right time and place to be able to talk, so that you're both are in the right space to be able to talk and have those conversations. Making sure you have regular contact, and then most critically, as a mentor, I think checking in with your mentee about what would really be most useful for them for that conversation at that time. So making sure as a mentor, the conversations are always led by the mentee. And I'd echo Sophie's point. I think sometimes our role is to be able to challenge, and overall it's to be able to provide that really safe space where our mentees are able to explore the sort of the choices, the challenges that we all face in their career. It's also about, I think, helping our mentees connect to the resources that they have. They are some very talented. I mean, that's the beauty about this scheme. You get to work with some really interesting, talented people. They have many resources, and actually, I think our role as a mentor is to help people figure out what those resources are, and also where they can create them, how they can create more. So I think if I look back at the conversations I've had, our sessions can really cover everything. As I said, it's driven by what the mentee sort of finds most useful. It can be from sort of that initial sort of career opportunities, what's out there, how it might fit in to the individual, what are they interested in, where are their skills, how do they can fit. It can cover interview preparation, and actually as people transition into roles, it can be those sort of how you handle some of the difficult conversations that we all sometimes end up having, those things that make us uncomfortable in the workplace. So yeah, and your second question, I think in terms of to be an advocate, I think it's great to talk about Pink Dynasty, tell friends about it, you know, follow it on social media, share posts, tell the organisation that you're in about it, and I think those are the ways that we can all do our bit to sort of support.
Thank you, Romy. That was incredible. You're a great champion for us, and we really do appreciate you. Okay, so last but not least, we're going to hear from Chloe. Chloe is she did join the program in 2017 as a rising star. She then became an ambassador, and then after that she recently joined the Pink Dynasty management team. So Chloe, would you please give us an overview of why you joined the program, what you've gained from it, and what does Lift As You Climb mean to you, and what you've done to live out that ethos?
Sure, thank you, Dee. So as Dee said, my name is Chloe. I was part of the 2017 cohort. I joined Pink Dynasty after going to an information session at my university, SOAS, and I was just amazed by all that the program had to offer, and I was amazed that they offered it for free. And so I jumped on the occasion and I applied, and to my great surprise, I was accepted. So through the program, what I gained, I actually gained 2 mentors. I had a more formal mentor through the program, so a person who was assigned to me. His name is Steve, sorry, and he works at Standard Chartered Bank. And it was just a great opportunity to have him as a mentor because he came from a different background. I have a politics background, and he obviously has a more of a finance and banking. And so he really served as a great sounding board, really helped me in terms of networking skills, and also introduced me to a variety of people I wouldn't have been able to speak to better understand what I want in my career and what I'm looking for. And he, most importantly, helped me go past my self-limiting beliefs and really helped me gain confidence and just go for things. And I can give you a concrete example. I've always had self-limiting beliefs. I think everyone has some to a certain extent. But I realized in the middle of my degree that I perhaps wanted to go into consulting. And so I told Steve about it in one of our monthly meetings, and he just told me, just go for the biggest ones. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's no way they will ever accept me. And I was frankly too scared to even apply to get to receive the rejection. So I put it off, but he really pushed me, and I went for it. So I applied to McKinsey, BCG, and Bain. I got a straight rejection from Bain because I was late in the deadline, but I did get responses from McKinsey and BCG, and I got invited to interview with them, which for me was a great achievement. And although I didn't go past the first or second stage, it was really a great opportunity because it proved that I was capable and that I had potential. And Steve really helped me discover that side of me, which I'm very grateful for. So my mentoring relationship with Steve is great, and we still speak today, even though the formal mentoring is over. What I gained as well is a second informal mentor, and her name is Hind, and she also works at Standard Chartered Bank. She was actually my line manager when I was an intern at Standard Chartered Bank, thanks to Pink Dynasty. So I had a 1-month internship in the corporate affairs team, and we got on really well. And Hind was actually one of the first mentors, part of Pink Dynasty, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it was just great as well to have someone to talk to regularly, someone who could give me advice. And we also went to the same university, so that was very helpful just to navigate through my degree. And she really pushed for me to get my internship extended, which was very helpful, because although she didn't know at the time, I was facing a lot of financial difficulty. I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to finish my degree. And so, you know, it was very much a blessing, because by extending my internship, I was able to finance myself. And she didn't know at the time, but it was very helpful. And so it really shows to what extent partners of Pink Dynasty can support members, sometimes without knowing them, but also, you know, knowingly, to gain valuable skills during the mentee's degree, and also with financial support indirectly. So yeah, those are the, I guess, my two mentors. And so I have to say that they really contributed to my success. Although I do think I have personal attributes which helped, and I think every mentee at Pink Dynasty, you know, it has a part of resilience, of ambition, and is driven. But they really helped me, you know, complete my degree on time, find a job before I graduated, and complete my degree with first class. So I'm very grateful. And so coming back to Lift As You Climb, I guess this is why I'm a manager today at Pink Dynasty, is because I really believe in the potential of the program. And I would like to give back and in a way, yeah, provide young women like myself the same or even better opportunities than I had through Pink Dynasty. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chloe. That was incredibly inspiring. And on behalf of Hind and Steve, they have absolute great things to say about you as well. And I'm sure they're honored to have you as a mentee and to see the amazing things that you have achieved and you will achieve. Your future is incredibly bright. I would like to thank Romy and Sophie again for taking time, not just now, but throughout the course of their membership of Pink Dynasty, to mentor young women like Chloe, because without their support, the program wouldn't be as successful as it is. We made it a conscious decision not to call this a charity because we don't want our members to feel like a charity case. Yes, they may suffer with financial hardship or come from disadvantaged backgrounds, but that doesn't mean that they are resting on their laurels and expecting handouts. They just need opportunities. They are hardworking, resilient, ambitious young women who just need support. They need to be given that helping hand that so many of us often take for granted. And Chloe and the other 50 plus members that we have, if you ever get an opportunity to meet them, you'll see how remarkable they are. And they work incredibly hard. So if you do take time to commit to becoming a mentor, your hard work won't be in vain. You'll be incredibly proud of what your mentee is able to accomplish. And I think that's one of the appeals to the program. So now I'm going to hand over to Lisa, who will give more information about how you can support Pink Dynasty. Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Dee, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out to join us this evening. I think you have a fairly good sense now of just how special Pink Dynasty actually is, but the reality is that Pink Dynasty has gone from strength to strength, not only because people give their time and their energy, but because we have some great partners. And I think if what Pink Dynasty is trying to achieve resonates with you, just to confirm again, the brand is all about social mobility, gender balance, the idea of support. There are many ways that you can provide assistance, not only as a mentor, although obviously our mentors are an absolutely key part of what we do. The first area is obviously donation, and because we rely on external support for everything we do, but I realize that's not always available for people. So there are some other key ways in which you can assist. It may not seem like a big thing, but for example, lending us some space in your to host an event is amazing, or providing someone who could facilitate an interesting or new workshop, which provides opportunity for our members to learn and grow, is also another amazing way in which you can support us. We have also built some amazing partnership over the years with some great corporates, and we really do value corporate sponsorship and partnership, because it brings a depth and a new facet to what we can provide members. And then finally, time. We're all time starved, and we have many things that pull us in different directions, and it is a great gift to give. So if you are able to give us time as well, we absolutely love people getting involved, giving some of their time, supporting mentoring. But if that's not your bailiwick, workshops, outreach, and fundraising are also things we'd be delighted to hear from you about. So really, in whatever capacity you feel you can add value, we'd love to hear from you, and leverage the strengths that you can bring to Pink Dynasty to help us grow, and through our growth support new members through the life cycle, and especially at the moment where it is quite hard for everyone, but particularly those who are only now starting off on their work journey. But thank you very much in advance for your support. We look forward to working with many of you. Perhaps I can just move on then very quickly just to talk about how you can go about applying to be a mentor. Being a mentor, as you've heard, is something that one does with significant commitment and knowledge of what you bring to the process, and a great sense of responsibility. And it is to this end that our process is relatively rigorous. So we request that you submit your CV and answer some key questions which are set out on the slide here, which is: why do you think you would make a good mentor? Why do you feel Pink Dynasty's mission is important? And finally, what does empathy mean to you? We'd be absolutely delighted to receive your applications or any other offers of support, but deadlines for mentoring applications are the 25th of November. We look forward to receiving them. As somebody who has spent many years of her life mentoring as well, I've said to many mentees in the past, actually the one who gets, I think, some of the greatest benefit is the mentor. It is not a gift just to give, but a gift to receive. So thank you very much for your time this evening, and I'll hand back to Emma to wrap us up for the evening. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much to Lisa and to Diola and all of our speakers who have taken the time out to present this evening. I hope you've gotten a good sense about the programme and what we're looking to achieve. We've had a couple of questions come in, so I'll jump right in. We've asked, are we looking solely for mentors currently working in the corporate space? My background is 10 years in corporate, but then 5 years in charity and social enterprise, and currently setting up a social business. So I'm curious if this is the right sort of background.
That's a great question. So initially, when I founded Pink Dynasty, I wanted to take advantage of the network I had. And at the time, that was the corporate space, i.e. finance in particular. And it was easy for me to sell the scheme or pilot to Standard Chartered because they knew of me and they knew my passion. However, as we've grown through the years, we've expanded our reach and we partner with people in different areas, whether it's STEM, third sector, public sector, private sector, large, small organizations. So no, you can definitely apply as long as you meet the criteria that Emma stated in the beginning of being a good listener, sensitive to the challenges our mentees tend to come from. We will take your application into consideration.
Great. Thank you very much, Dee. So another question that we have had is, do I have to be a sort of subject matter expert in the area that my mentee is looking to go into to be a mentor on the program? And I wonder if I can just ask Romy to just talk about her experience with that, please.
Hi, thanks, Emma. No, I don't think you need to be a subject matter expert. I mean, apart from for many of the women in Pink Dynasty, they're exploring their options, their career options. So it would never be possible to marry somebody up to be able to forecast where that choice might end up. I think the main thing is as has been said before, is somebody who's able to listen and to help the mentee explore what the options are out there, what the paths to fulfill those options might be. And to help, as I think I said before, is to help the mentees sort of figure out what resources they have, and if they don't have them immediately, who might help them to find them. It doesn't all need to be about from the mentor. It's really about enabling the mentee to access a much broader resource base out there.
Thank you, Romy. That's absolutely correct. I think to piggyback off that, if you are successful, we will give you some training on mentoring in practice, and we will do our best to give you all the tools and resources you need to give your mentee the best possible chance with exploring career opportunities or just trying to become a more fulfilled individual in society, because you have to remember that they're in that transition period where they're in higher education and it's quite daunting to get into the workforce. Some of them haven't got family members or anyone as role models, so there's so many like soft skills that they don't have which you can impart on them, so like business etiquette, what to wear, things like that. There's so many things that aren't necessarily aligned to your particular role or your industry, but you can still share that knowledge and of course introduce them to your wider network. But yeah, if you are successful, you will have to undergo some mentoring training and we will give you an induction pack. But what's most important for us is making sure that we pair a mentee and a mentor who have a really good personality balance. So if we find we have a young lady who's quite shy, lacks a bit of confidence, it always makes sense to pair her with somebody who's more confident and is happy to kind of bring out that confident nature in their mentees. So we do our best to pair people on their personality types and their potential. And if at any point you feel like the pairing isn't working, we do ask you to be incredibly transparent and we'll do our best to repair you. But to date, we haven't gone wrong with the pairing. Lots of our mentees are like, oh my God, I really love my mentor. And that's the kind of feedback we like to do. And so hopefully you won't have any difficulties with that.
So thanks, Dee. That actually leads us quite nicely into a question that we've had about how many years experience do mentors need? And is that a criteria that we look to have from our mentors?
Would you like me to answer that?
Yeah, is that okay? Could you just carry on?
Yeah, sure.
As it's another element of the requirement. Yeah,
no problem. So yeah, we just ask that you do have some professional experience of up to 3 to 5 years, so that you are in a position whereby you have hopefully a breadth of experience, skills and contacts that you can share with your mentee and the other 15 to 20 girls in the cohort. We will not judge you on where you've worked. It's about you, your commitment, your passion, and your advocacy for social mobility and diversity and inclusion. And we also do our best to support our mentors as well, because a lot of the time, women empowerment programs or mentorship schemes focus solely on the mentees. Yes, they're very important, but we also want to help our mentors also. So as mentioned earlier, our patron, Geraldine Haley, is a C-suite executive coach, leadership coach, and as well as providing Strength Finder courses for our mentees, she does leadership training for our mentors. So if you notice you have a skills gap or you want to kind of broaden your horizons as well, we do encourage you to take advantage of our workshops also and join. Similarly, when we host personal finance or investment workshops for our mentees, we do invite our mentors to come as well. It's optional, they can, and many of them do take advantage of it because, especially now, everyone's trying to do better with their money management. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yep, no, absolutely it does. Thank you very much. Another question that we have had is, what is the ratio of mentors to mentees? How many mentees would a mentor have? Chloe, can I ask you to just answer that question, please?
Sure. So the general ratio is 1-to-1. So we'd have one mentor for one mentee. I say I had two mentors. I guess I got lucky because my line manager became, for me, my mentor. But I don't know if it's common for other people in the cohorts, from other cohorts, but it would be a one-on-one relationship generally.
Yeah, so I think I'd agree with that. We look to create a pairing between just a single mentor and a mentee each year to really be able to foster that relationship, and so that each mentee can really get the benefit of the mentor's attention. What we do try and do is, obviously we are creating a network of like-minded individuals who are looking to support the broader mission, and so you may well be, if you would like to be available to other mentees from the alumni or the current cohort in terms of any particular questions they might have, or for any particular advice if they're looking to go into one of your area of expertise, then we're always very happy to open that up and share the expertise, really. Great. Another question that we've had is, although we're all virtual at the moment, would you ideally like your mentors to be London-based? Dee, could I ask you to answer that, please?
Sure, that is a fantastic question. So initially, yes, it was a requirement that both mentors and mentees are based in London. However, given the current pandemic and because we're becoming more digital, we do not mind where you are located, provided you're able to have an active mentoring relationship with your assigned mentee. So we, as mentioned earlier, it is imperative that you carve out time to have at least a one-on-one meeting. That could be virtually via Zoom or any other, your preferred online platform once a month, but also have regular catch-ups. That could be via email, text messaging, or WhatsApp. So provided you and your mentee are comfortable with your communication, there isn't a problem whether you're based in Scotland and your mentee is based in London, as long as that you can keep that rapport going and have regular catch-ups as of when you're available. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you very much, Dee. Yep, I think it did. It was answered it perfectly. So another question that we've had is, please could you shed some light on the application process after sending the CV and answering the 3 questions? I mean, I could take that if that's okay. So the application process that we have is actually, we are running a parallel application process for the mentees at the moment. So we get all the mentees to submit their application forms, including answers to similar questions that we've asked the mentors to answer. And once we've had all of those in and all of the mentor questions in, we will review those and sit down and invite the mentees who we feel would most benefit from the programme to interviews. Once those interviews are done, we match them with the mentors that we feel best complement their aspirations and their career journeys. And what we'll do is then ask, we'll contact each of the mentors and let them know that they've been successful in applying to the programme and share information on their mentee. And then we'll start to organise the initial conversations, the introductions, and as Dee outlined, the training programmes and the mixes. I hope that answers your question. I have a sort of broader one, if I could, for Dee, which is how, especially at the moment in the current pandemic, with many young women and lots of other people in society unable to necessarily access some of the more traditional career outlets and opportunities to network with people to be able to secure some of these positions. How important is it a programme like Pink Dynasty to support those young women in making this really crucial transition from these backgrounds?
Thank you, Emma. That's a very important question. And as you know, we are working incredibly hard with our partner organisations to ensure that we're supporting the most vulnerable of our cohort. And that includes getting them well prepared for the workforce as of when it becomes open. We're trying to introduce them with new skills and collaborative tools that they wouldn't ordinarily have to use at university or in their retail jobs that they may have on the side. We do interview techniques. We try to prep them for remote interviews. We do our best to help with their confidence building, because as mentioned before, many of our members are incredibly bright. However, they lack a lot of confidence. We do our best to connect them with men and women who have done remarkable things in their career to just give them that inspiration that they need. We regularly host workshops and seminars and just one-to-one talks as of when, if they have any sort of urgent need. And as you can appreciate, many of our members do come from low-income families. So when we are doing our fundraising campaign, we do have an emergency fund available. So any of the girls can apply to it and get some funding to help them if they're in any desperate situation. We also ask that our mentors have regular check-ins with them, because sometimes it can be difficult to ask for help. And as mentioned, these young women don't want to be considered as charity cases. So we do our best to kind of coach our mentors to have those somewhat uncomfortable conversations, but in a very sensitive manner that doesn't make the young lady feel uncomfortable. We do all we can to support our members, but we can't do it alone. So we are literally calling on anyone who is interested to support us, whether it's individually or on behalf of your organization, to help us so that we can continue to develop these young girls and give them the bright future that they deserve. I hope that answers the question.
Right. I think there was one question about how many mentors. Emma, is it okay if I grab that
so
one?
The last question, that we've had is about how many mentors are you looking for? Lisa, could you answer that?
Sure, no issues. So I think what we seek to do is to get the right number, basically match our mentors and mentees together. And we're very conscious of not having a huge cohort so we can't support them adequately. As a general rule of thumb, I would say it's somewhere between 10 to 15 per annum. I think as we grow and we have more resources available to us, I think we would like to increase that number, but we just want to make sure that through increasing it, we don't impact negatively the quality of the support that's being provided. But I would say 15 is a good proxy. We do also, to the extent that we are not able to match mentors and mentees, What we try to do is keep them in a database, because you may find that mentor would be amazing for someone in a subsequent cohort.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Lisa. I'll just ask if there's any last questions that anybody has, if they could put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll move to wrap up. Great, well, fantastic. Well, thank you very much to all of our speakers and to you all for joining us again this evening. We hope you found the session informative, and if you have any further questions on the programme or ways that we could work together, then please do drop us an email at hello@pinkdynasty.org. Also follow us on our different platforms to stay up to date with future events and activities which are open to members, but also often open to non-members, as Diola mentioned earlier. So without further ado, just thank you very much and have a great remainder of the evening.